Good evening. In the last hour, the drugs firm Novavax has announced that large-scale UK trials of its COVID-19 vaccine have shown 89% efficacy and that the drug is effective against the new UK variant. The news is a further boost to efforts to vaccinate the nation. The UK has already ordered 60 million doses of the drug, which is yet to be approved by regulators. Yet some remain unconvinced. Vaccine hesitancy, not to be confused with those who define themselves as anti-vaxxers, describes a not insignificant group in society who have doubts about the vaccines but could be open to being persuaded. COVID has proved more deadly to those from ethnic minority communities and those who are poor, and yet early data suggests vaccine take-up in these groups appears to be lower. Today, black MPs from all parties have come together in a video encouraging people to get the jab and warning of the dangers of believing misinformation about it. Tonight, we look at the challenge to reassure those being asked to roll up their sleeves. Katie Razzle, our UK editor, is here. Katie Razzle reporting. We asked the government to come on this evening. It declined, telling us it was working with different communities to get the correct vaccine information out. I'm now joined by former Facebook executive, now Lib Dem member of the House of Lords, Richard Allen, Imran Ahmed, Chief Executive of the Centre for Countering Digital Hate, and Dr Annabel Showemimo, who works to increase engagement with healthcare among people of African descent. Annabel, if I may start with you. You're a doctor, you're talking to people all of the time. Why are the people you're speaking to hesitant?
Good evening. Yes, so I think
there's great talk of collaboration from all of you in different aspects. Thank you very much for collaborating with us this evening. Now, when Boris Johnson announced this week that it was impossible to consider schools reopening in England until the 8th of March at the earliest, he dealt a blow to millions of parents who've been clinging to the hope that things might return to normal earlier. Much has been said about the pressures on families juggling homeschooling with parental work. But more detail is emerging of the effects of this lockdown on the children themselves. Many across all age groups now restricted to learning solely through screens. Many more who don't have access to screens left struggling to learn much at all. Our policy editor, Lewis Goodall, has been looking at the toll of the disruption. Lewis Goodall reporting. Now, it's the market phenomenon that has pushed shares into unloved companies to extraordinary heights, made groups of online traders calling themselves the degenerates, the new big dogs of Wall Street, and left some of the world's biggest hedge funds licking their wounds. Even after tumbling today, shares in US video games retailer GameStop are over 1,000% higher than when they started at the beginning of the year. So what's going on? Our business editor, Helen Thomas, tries to explain. And you're talking about, reality there, or trying to bring us back to reality. Of course, right. GameStop has employees. Those employees have families. And I wonder if you think that the stock market has become too disconnected from the reality of the lives that those businesses affect. Well, the analogy, perhaps is not rightfully deployed here. But where do you stand, or where should people stand who aren't as close to this as you are, about who's in the right and who's in the wrong here, if you can put it like that? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's almost all from us for tonight. Before we go, lockdown has seen many of us getting around to those jobs we've put off again and again. And in the late 1980s, the photographer Mick Critchlow undertook a project to capture the lives of merchant seamen around the British coast. 30 years on, he's now finally got around to printing some of those negatives for the first time. And we thought we'd leave you this evening with some of his striking images. Good night.